Another recurrent issue for the Bretton Woods exchange rate system was known as destabilizing speculation. So imagine that you are Mexico and that you have set a pair value with the dollar that is just like too low. It's at 5, but in reality, you were too ambitious. You were hoping that your currency was worthwhile, but in reality, a more realistic target for your value was closer to, say, 6 pesos for $1, meaning a lower value for your own currency. Well, the IMF, after making you a loan, might be recognizing that this is actually the case. And so a phase of negotiations to decide a new par value for the peso against the dollar opens up. As you might imagine, there's a lot of politics that goes into these type of negotiations because, people have strong feelings about how strong a currency should be in regards to another country's currency. And so there are several meetings, there are press conferences in which all these kind of issues are debated. But suppose that you are a trader of currency in the international markets and that you basically see that Mexico and the IMF are dancing around, but you know that they're going to converge on making the par value against the dollar way higher. There's an arbitrage opportunity there. So you know that you can buy today dollars at the higher band implied by the current par value. In our example, if the par value is 5, it means that we can buy, and if the market exchange rate is higher than the upper band, then it means that I can buy dollars at 5.25 pesos. But then I should do it. I should buy large quantity of dollars today, knowing that in the future, in the next future, finally the IMF and Mexico's government will reach an agreement in which they will just say that the new par value, instead of being 5, is 6, and so the new bands will be fluctuating around 6. That's great for me because at that point I will have bought dollars for 5.25, and I will be likely able to sell dollars for a way a higher amount of pesos, making a profit. So you can imagine that anytime there was the expectation of changing the par value against the dollar of one currency, a lot of these traders were making this bet and were buying in advance dollars and selling the local currency, pesos in our example, assuming that in the future there's going to be a devaluation of the peso, and on the expectation of making a profit. Every time this happens, then as you might imagine, the demand for dollars on the market before the the par value is changed, has a boost. Imagine there are all these traders that think, oh, okay, I need to buy dollars today because tomorrow I'm going to be able to sell them for a lot of pesos and make a profit. Great. So this is going to make the crisis of the Central Bank of Mexico even worse, because now the amount of dollars that the Central Bank of Mexico needs to provide on the market has become even larger. So there are several currencies that under the Bretton Woods system had this kind of destructive speculation. However, this is not really what, or destabilizing, sorry, speculation, but this is not really what made Bretton Woods fall. We will see that what really made Bretton Woods fall was the fact that the United States had been accumulating deficits in the current account balance to finance the Vietnam War, starting in the late 50s all the way to the late 60s. So there was this large influx of foreign money into the United States to balance these deficits in the current account balance. But so basically you have to imagine a situation in which there's a very large supply of dollars in the hands of foreigners, and up to the end of the 60s, the foreigners had been investing in treasury bills of the United States of America, of the US government. However, all of a sudden, they start converting more and more these dollars, this supply of dollars, into gold. So they were exploiting that rule of the IMF that was saying that if you have an excess of reserves of dollars, you can always convert them into gold at a fixed price of 35 bucks per ounce. At some point, the government of the United States, seeing that the reserves of gold in the US were reaching an historic minimum, interrupt this conversion. They stop converting dollars into gold, basically producing the end of the Bretton Woods system, which was based on this central role of the US and of the US dollars as a counterpart of every exchange rate for nations participating to the Bretton Woods system and members of the International Monetary Fund.